Call the meeting to order, please. And if you would rise. Thank Sarah Levesque for pointing out we have the flag placed incorrectly. If we're going to do this, let's do it right. Please remove your hats, join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Eastman, any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments this evening.
This time, I would accept the motion to approve the minutes of January 6th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 6th. Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Or abstentions? Report from the board chair. I have nothing tonight. Report from the superintendent.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I would like to begin by recognizing our maintenance and custodial staff for the increased workload they have taken on to ensure our buildings are properly cleared, safe, and ready for daily operation. With the number of storms we have experienced, their efforts have especially been important and very much appreciated. I would also like to recognize our bus drivers who have navigated some very difficult road conditions, particularly on our back roads, due to safely transport our students. I do have a few updates regarding athletics. Both the middle school girls and boys basketball teams have advanced to the semifinals. The girls are playing this evening at Pematic, and the boys will play tomorrow evening at Mount Desert Elementary School. If either team wins, they will advance to the championship games at Mount Desert Island High School on Thursday the 5th, with the girls playing at 6 and the boys to follow. At the varsity level, the girls team is currently projected to finish in 7th place and will most likely host a playoff game next Thursday evening here at Sumner. If they win, they will advance to a quarterfinal game at the Cross Center in Bangor on Monday, February 16th at 8:30 p.m. The boys varsity team is projected to finish in 6th place and will play a quarterfinal game that same afternoon, Monday the 16th, beginning at 4 p.m. Our track team will compete, and the PBC meets this Saturday, and they are expected to have athletes qualify for the state meet, which will be held at Bates College on February the 16th. The Scott Jellison Memorial Tournament will take place this weekend, Friday evening and Saturday. The tournament includes 8 girls JV teams and 9 boys JV teams. Our girls team will play Friday evening at 6, and our boys team will play Saturday morning at 10 a.m. This event traditionally draws large crowds, provides a great opportunity for community members to visit the school, and serves as a significant fundraiser for our Sumner athletic boosters. I am happy to pass along that Mario Edgecombe, along with one anonymous individual, nominated Sumner Memorial High School teacher Whitney Crabtree for the 2026 Hancock County Teacher of the Year, a part of the Maine Teacher of the Year program. This recognition is a testament to the impact that Whitney has had on her students, colleagues, on Sumner, and our community. Mario had the following to say in regards to the nomination. I was proud to nominate my colleague Whitney Crabtree for the Teacher of the Year. Whitney has been a strong leader in our school for a while now. She has a quiet leadership that gives space to every person in our building. She knows our students, our staff, and our community. She has worked diligently to build a climate of trust, caring, and celebration. Whitney's work with our students has resulted in a Go Blue team of student leaders with real decision-making power. Their voices lead our assemblies and shape our day-to-day work. It is through this work that our school is becoming truly student-led. Whitney's work with the faculty and staff started with modeling and sharing, and has moved to include support. She is the reason that our school is more inclusive, celebratory, and a great place to be. She isn't afraid to talk about challenges, and she is the first to share the load as we work to solve problems. She is visible. She is caring, knowledgeable, and determined. She is most deserving of the title for Teacher of the Year, so best of luck to Whitney Crabtree. And lastly, I, along with Shelley Childroth and Haley Fenton, received an email from Beth Lambert, the Chief Teaching and Learning Officer from the Maine Department of Education, and it reads as follows. Dear Michael, Michelle, and Haley, I am reaching out with congratulations and deep appreciation. As part of Maine's Literacy and Numeracy Action Plans, our team has been reviewing recent state assessment data to better understand where students are making meaningful gains in 3rd grade reading and mathematics. Our Lewis School stood out for the significant growth your students have demonstrated in reading achievement, and we wanted to take a moment to recognize that achievement. Improvement at this scale does not happen by accident. It reflects the daily work of educators, thoughtful leadership, strong instructional practices, and a sustained commitment to students and families. We know how challenging the last several years have been for schools, which makes this progress all the more noteworthy. We are currently developing a new section of the DOE Literacy and Numeracy Hubs that will highlight schools across Maine that are seeing positive momentum and learning gains. The goal is simple: to lift up what is working, learn from one another, and make strong practices more visible and accessible to educators statewide. If you'd be willing, we would love to learn more about the strategies, instructional approaches, materials, professional learning, or systems you believe have contributed to your success. This would be shared in a practitioner-to-practitioner spirit, focused on celebrating your work and helping peers across the state benefit from your experience. There is absolutely no obligation, but we hope you will consider participating. If you are interested, I would be happy to share more details. Thank you again for the important work you and your staff do every day for Maine students. Your leadership and your team's efforts truly matter. And Haley is here this evening, so congratulations to Haley and please stop me. That's all right. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll start public comment. Okay, first up, Durham Chappie O'Sullivan. Remind everybody that you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Ready?
Whenever you're ready.
I followed the transgender policy resolution in the papers and regret not rising to speak about it in earlier meetings, but I'm claiming my time now. My daughter, a 6th grader here, when asked by me how her fellow students treat those who are different, says simply, "There's no issue. They're just like us." Her mother, my wife, tells me that in the Philippines, with no fear, no ridicule, no intimidation from the larger community, athletes who are trans routinely compete with others born of the same birth gender. From birth, their differences and similarities have been accepted without a peep. Not made to feel alien for being born differently, competition with others born with the same genitalia has never been an issue, no matter how they dress, act, or are off the playing field. Nor is there any need for special bathrooms. Since acceptance is universal and harassment is non-existent, it's an easy matter for students born male to continue to use the men's room, and for those born female to use the women's room. The point I'm making here is less about bathrooms and more that no special social engineering is necessary when the culture is accommodating. In one of the more religious Catholic countries in the world, decency prevails. There is no biblical wrath reserved for trans and LGBTQ people, no special hell for those who turn out different. Quite the opposite. The trans and gay populations in the Philippines are celebrated for their creativity and spirit. A country like ours, home of the free, land of the brave, could learn a great deal from such a place. For what good really are our freedoms if a small minority of us are suffering? Last year in Maine, 42% of trans youth considered suicide, while 18% attempted. Who among us feels threatened by a minority who can't stop thinking of killing themselves? Who among us needs a whole resolution bucking state law to deal with our children, our brothers and sisters, our teammates? My daughter's 6th grade classmates know intuitively they've nothing to fear. And I wonder if 6th graders know this, what it will take to get the rest of us to evolve. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jerry Urbis. Am I saying that right, Jerry?
Yeah. Yes. Good evening, everybody. So I've been here a few times now, and I'm not even going to speak on Title IX because that's going to go away. It's just common sense, and I shake because I have an issue, big issue. Jeff, I want to ask you how long you've been chairman?
10 months.
10 months, and who had it before you?
Ward up.
Okay. Mr. Eastman, how long have you been superintendent?
My 11th year.
Hmm?
My 11th year.
11.
11 years?
Yeah, this is my 11th year.
So, Jeff, I can't get on you this hard. Mr. Eastman, I can't. This school was projected out at $40 million, right? What was the final tally on it?
42.
42? Okay. I heard it was over 50. No? Okay. So what are we gonna do to bring education back to the kids and get our schools back up in a percentile where we're not the bottom of the state, we're not the bottom of the nation? Because that's where we're at.
Well, you can make comments, Mr. Urbis,
But I can't ask questions?
you can ask questions, but
Okay.
we have to be prepared to answer them, and we don't have that data, and so I can't.
If you can't give me some kind of idea of what you're gonna do?
Well, as Mr. Alley was alluding to, the policy doesn't really allow for engagement for this process because it would drag it on. What I will tell you is we have a lot of people working in this district, including the people I just read about in this district. They're working very hard to make a difference. I think really to ask that question and understand the implications, you'd have to live it. And I can tell you on a daily basis, people that are sitting here in this audience don't have a clue what the educators, including our leaders and teachers, are going
I
through.
would volunteer to come and sit up and just watch. I'd like to see it.
There's a policy for that, so by all means, if you want to engage in it.
The last question I have is voter integrity. So I'm from Sullivan. We have just over 1,000 registered voters. And how can one of our people come up, Mr. Teddy in particular, I'm not picking on you, when there's only 1,000 people voting, a little over, and you get 1,257?
I did not get 1,257 votes for the election. I got 87, I think.
87?
I have 12,057 votes because that's the population of Sullivan.
Mr. Urbis, where this is reflected here, it says votes.
Right. I'm just trying to understand some stuff.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to explain it for everybody else as well.
Votes, I want you to know.
These are not the votes these are not the votes that,
400.
these are not the votes that board members received. These are the votes that each board member casts when they vote, because with our weighted vote system, each board member represents the total population of their town. So for Winter Harbor, I have 472 votes because that's the population of Winter Harbor. Sabin has 1,257, that's the population of Sullivan, and so on. It's not reflective of how many votes each board member got in an election.
Okay. Well, when he says he got 89 and Willie Andrews had 345,
The town certifies it. Yeah, no, the town certifies
do
it.
not match.
The town certifies that, so you'd have to go back to the town of Sullivan. We have nothing to do with the election.
And they told me I gotta come to you.
I talk to Ray Weintraub on a regular basis, so we can all three get together and talk it through if you want.
Tell Ray I'm curious about
Say again?
Tell Ray Jerry's curious about that.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
I would say, Mr. Urbis, our ed programming committee meetings are on the second Tuesday of the month, so we'll be meeting next Tuesday. Those are the meetings where we would discuss things like testing data to show trends, like our recent upward trend in test scores, and the programs that we use, the curricula that we use in education. So I would invite you to come to that. I think it would be enlightening to get an idea of what programs are going on in the schools and what steps, are being taken to improve student achievement. So 5:30, second Tuesday of the month, at the DSF right here, off the road. Excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry. We'll be meeting here next Tuesday. Normally, we meet at the district services facility, which is up the road.
RSU24 building?
Yes. And actually, if you just log on to the RSU24 website, you'll see at the bottom of the page, a list of all upcoming meetings, whether they be board meetings or committee meetings. Our Finance and Budget Committee is very busy this time of year, so they have a lot of meetings in the next few months. And then every other committee generally meets once a month. On occasion, a committee may not meet if there's no business that needs to come before it.
So you're allowed to make comments during that as well too, or ask questions during that?
Well, generally, that would be up to the chair of the committee. Generally, there's an opportunity to make a comment or ask questions. I can't promise that there would be much back and forth discussion, or that it may be possible you don't get an answer to your question if nobody has that answer at that time. But I feel confident in saying someone will find the answer to your question and get back to you. So everything we do, we are doing in as transparent and above board manner as we can, and we can't be any clearer when we invite people to come to our committee meetings and see exactly what's going on. This is not supposed to be a mystery to the voters, the taxpayers, and the citizens. It's not supposed to be, and we've never done anything but encourage people to come see what's going on. So I would continue to do that. All right, next, Tina Porter from Waltham.
Tina Porter from Marvin. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the board, and Mr. Eastman for all your dedication and time that you spend for our children. Second, I was just looking at the agenda and realized that the policy that you adopted for Title IX resolution was not on the agenda. Wondering why that policy has not come up to the board to vote on.
We haven't, you went to the policy committee meeting, didn't you?
I missed it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there was no policy that was passed on.
Okay, is
It will be on the agenda for the
on
next
the
meeting.
next agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I also know you're not supposed to answer questions, so that's fine. But I know there has been work on the budget. It was publicly stated last year that the budget was not sustainable. So where are we at with that? Is there any substantial cuts? And then I was checking, our student enrollment is down from last year. And wondering what are we doing to sustain the children that we have and increase the students coming forward to make sense of a $26 million budget. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next, Crystal Burke from Hancock.
I just came from the Hancock School Board meeting as a member over there. And we are rapidly passing the edits that MSMA is suggesting, because our policy book was frankly well out of date. We had some issues with previous superintendents and stuff, just letting everything sit on hold, so we are shoving through it, and I understand you guys are stuck doing the same thing. The concerns that I have right now is something that was frankly brought up in the superintendent's meeting that just happened, is all of the schools in Maine have to make decisions and communicate to each other what's going to happen when non-local law enforcement comes to your building. Do you let them in and search class by class? Will you hold them at the front door? These are things you need to be discussing now. Because you have to decide whether or not you're going to let a kid badmouth non-local law enforcement in the hallway and get dragged through the hallways and into physical harm, even if it's against their rights, because that is a thing that is happening right now in the world. I also need you to start being clearer about how you intend to enforce your Title IX policy. Because I need to know whether parents who are gender nonconforming, who come from my school and come to your school, if those parents can use your bathrooms. I need to know whether students from other schools, when they come to play sports against your kids, if you have a local parent who says, that's not a girl, What are you gonna do? I need to know whether my students are safe to come here, whether the families that I send are safe to come here. And I need to know, like, whether we need to be reaching out to your students and asking them if they need to get out of this school if it's not safe for them. Like, we need to know how you intend to enforce these things. Because if it's not safe for students to be here, frankly, I think that's a problem for you as a board. But second off, I need to help people. I need to help them be safe. And we all need to work together on this as many schools and figure out, like, how we're going to help our students. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up public comment for tonight. Next item on the agenda, we're into business. Sumner Memorial High School senior class trip.
Hello, good evening. I am really proud to present to you some of our senior girls and our two teachers, Nikki Olet and Andrew Johnson, who have worked very hard collaboratively to prepare and organize a senior trip that they'd like to present to you tonight. So right now, Ciara Trundy, Fiona Farmer, and Pearl Pinkham are going to present their proposal.
Hi, I'm Pearl. I'm the president of the class. Our proposed destination for our trip, we are trying to get to Boston. We have enough money to go. That's where we'd like to go. We'd like to get out of the state of Maine. We thought this would be a very good cultural experience for some of the kids in our class who may not have left the state. And I think that at least leaving the state of Maine would increase the class participation of who would actually want to go on a class trip.
Hi, I'm Ciara Trundy, and I'm the secretary for the class of 2026. 23 seniors out of 50 are currently signed up for the trip. We have 3 chaperones, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Watt, and Mrs. Burr. We also have 1 bus driver that we're taking along with us.
Hi, my name is Fiona Farmer. I'm the treasurer. Some activities that we'll be doing. On Friday, we're going to go to the main mall and Kobe Steakhouse and Sushi and a choice of either the movies or bowling. On Saturday, we're going to start off in Boston at the Quincy Market. Another activity is the New England Aquarium, and then we're going to end the night off at Top Golf. And then on Sunday, before we leave, we're going to go to the Freeport Outlets.
The approximate cost is $11,800. Agreements have been made and signed or need to be made and signed. As of yesterday, the class has $14,600 allocated. Project Graduation has a separate account that already has $1,200 in it.
We have done numerous fundraisers. We've done quite a few candygrams. We've done some bake sales. We did concessions at the ice fishing derby. We hosted prom and homecoming last year. And a big fundraiser for us was the Festival of Trees this past Christmas. That made us quite a bit of money. And then we still have a couple more fundraisers for this year. Currently we're doing like a Valentine's candygram, and we've already made I think close to $100 off that. And we're gonna do a couple more like holiday themed things, but
So at this time, I guess, do you guys have any other questions for us about anything?
Congratulations on raising so much money for your trip, number one. You had mentioned there's 23 out of 50 that are signed up. Do you anticipate that more seniors will want to go? And would that increase your amount that you have to raise? Or is the amount that you've raised just covering the 23?
So with the 23, we sent out a form and to all of our seniors. And if you did not fill out the form, then after the date that it was due, you were not allowed to come. And then another way to be able to come after you filled out the form is you have to participate in 3 fundraisers for the class. And so pretty much only the 23 that filled out that form can go. So we shouldn't need any more money than what we have, already for it. But there could be less kids that go depending on if they do the fundraisers or not.
Any other questions?
Don't appear to be any questions. Would anybody on the board care to make a motion with regard to this class trip proposal?
I make a motion, we accept the presentation for the class trip.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor? I don't see any possible abstentions. Congratulations. Have fun. Learn something. Next up, Speech and Debate Club National Tournament.
I also have John Russell, English teacher, with me this evening to present the proposal for the Speech and Debate Club to go to Washington, D.C. to compete. Unfortunately, his 3 students were not able to make it tonight. I think they're all on track, right? Indoor track, so they were not able to come. So John will be presenting.
Hi everyone, I'm John Russell. I'm going to give you guys, I think you already have this proposal sheet, is that correct? I'm also going to hand you this flyer on a program called Vertical Raise, which I'll be talking about too as a fundraising possibility. Yeah, I'll start just by talking about the team and the competition they've qualified for. So yeah, it's been a real privilege to start a speech and debate team here at Sumner, both the high school and the middle school. I've done this a few times, and it's always tough to get a team off the ground, but we've had a lot of enthusiastic participants, brave kids. You guys on the board know how scary public speaking can be, and I'm sure you remember from your teenage years it wasn't any easier back then, but these kids recognize how important it is to develop those skills, and they step out of their comfort zone and travel all across the state to go against teams that in some cases have been around for 50 or 60 years and have just tons of institutional knowledge and experience that they've been handing down from class to class over all those generations. And here we are, brand new, and our kids are going out and giving it a try, and they've been, I think, tremendously successful for stepping into the big wide world of speech and debate without any background in it in most cases. And so yeah, we were delighted when at the state championship, which was held at Skowhegan a little over a week ago now, 3 of our students wound up qualifying to compete at the NCFL Grand National Tournament in Washington, D.C. So there's sort of 2 big nationwide speech and debate organizations, the NSDA, National Speech and Debate Association, and the NCFL, National Catholic Forensic League. It's got Catholic in the name. It is indeed a Catholic organization in its roots, but there's no expectation of any religious affiliation for students or schools, and they have a very clear non-discrimination policy. Just wanted to get that out there. And it's very common for public schools around the state and the country to take part in this league. So yeah, 12th graders Reese Bryan and Emily Green have qualified in the event of duo interpretation. It's like a partner acting event. And 11th grader Christopher Delgado has qualified in extemporaneous speaking, which is a limited prep, current events, argumentative event. This competition will take place in DC on the weekend of Memorial Day. It's the actual competition is Saturday, May 23rd and Sunday, May 24th. So you can see on the printout here that I've tried to estimate all the costs. This is the 8th year I've taken students to national tournaments in my coaching career, so I'm pretty good at figuring out what everything's going to cost. They aren't cheap, as you can see, and also it's a little hard to predict based on some of the variables, depending whether we fly or drive, things like that. So we do thank you for considering supporting us. First of all, allowing us to go to this competition and represent Sumner and represent the state of Maine. And also for contributing whatever you guys as a district can to help us meet those fundraising goals. But I understand that, you know, budgets aren't easy, and especially as a new team, probably this was not something that you guys would be able to see coming a year ago, and this was all being written anyway. So I'm also requesting you consider allowing us to use a platform called Vertical Raise, which is the second sheet you guys should have there. Vertical Raise is an online fundraising platform designed for educational institutions. It's becoming very popular at schools throughout the country and throughout the state. On the back, you'll see a list of schools here in the state who have used it in some form or another, including Narragansett, right down the road. It's a platform where students can sort of advocate for themselves to their family and friends, and it gets sort of shared out as much as people are able and willing. And a lot of speech and debate programs, because especially once you hit the national level, speech and debate can get pretty expensive, have found success fundraising in this way. I believe that if we're allowed to use this platform, we could raise the money we need without too much trouble. Of course, we're ready and willing to fundraise in more traditional methods as well, but depending on how much you guys are able to help us out with, that's a lot of money to raise for a small team, given everything else we all have going on. So I hope you'll consider allowing us to use that platform. Are there any questions?
It would have been a really good idea if one of your students on the debate team could come and give a presentation to us and convince us with their rhetorical skills to shell out money.
I agree. I think maybe they were intimidated by all of your rhetorical skills. So
Well, in lieu of that, you've done your best, I can see.
No, speech and debate kids are notoriously busy people. The kind of kids that this event attracts are always doing other stuff too. So I was really bummed when I found out that Mr. Lord was taking them all to Orono tonight. But
Good move.
yes.
Historically, when we've had events like this happen, like where students have qualified for, say, a New England athletic meet or something that's been unplanned, we have on occasion been able to find money in the budget to help offset some of those costs. Mr. Eastman, do you know if there is any money that we might be able to offset some of this with?
Yeah, I had Chris Alvarado actually go into the budget. Chris is Human Resources, and there are a number of co-curricular stipended positions that were not filled this year. So I do believe we could fund most, if not all, of this trip. That's the board's budget.
Thoughts, folks?
I was just going to say, if we have the funds, I think these students are obviously the top of their game, and I think it's a really great opportunity for them, and I would not want to be the barrier that kept them from that experience.
Carly, you were good to go?
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And then how much is fund, do you guys have any funds raised so far, or?
We don't have any fun. We raised a little bit of money when we hosted a tournament earlier in the year, but that's gone from other costs associated with the season so far.
And when do you need the money by?
I think most of it, well, I think a lot of it we wouldn't need till closer to the date. Well, obviously, if we are able to fly, we'll want to get plane tickets when they're at their cheapest, so having that money at the ready ASAP would be valuable. Yeah, there's a lot of those sort of question marks, like where we stay, that could also sort of depend. But like the registration fees, I don't think are due till April. The food costs, things like that. We can hold off right till then.
And then my question for you, Mr. Eastman, is this would be coming out of last year's budget, correct, the 2026 budget?
This would be coming out of the current budget that we're in?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I guess I don't really know who to direct this to. Could we potentially make a motion to approve vertical raise and see what kind of fundraising you guys can get through that for the next month, and then come back and tell us what you need at our next meeting, and then we could make a better informed decision on where to get the funds from.
We could do that. If you would like to make a motion.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we approve the use of vertical raise for the speech and debate team to use for fundraising.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I think this is a remarkable opportunity. I grew up in part when I wasn't in Maine, down in Washington, D.C. area, and it's a remarkable city. And we may need some kids from this neck of the woods to go down to D.C. and articulate what is needed, and their debate skills would be more than welcome down there. So, yeah, I think this is a great idea. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I just have one other thing. I know our goal here is to have kids in school as much as possible, but being that you would be going to DC, exploring DC is really valuable, and the Smithsonian's are free entrance. So I think it would be a wonderful opportunity for the students to be able to do a little bit of sightseeing when you're down there. Just putting that out there for consideration.
I agree. I know on my part, my wife will want me gone as short a time as possible. But I would be glad to consider tacking on another day if we wind up having the funds for it to do stuff like that. My mom's coming to help with the kids, so she can deal.
I'll offer a couple of thoughts. First of all, I'm a strong supporter of supporting students who are putting their best foot forward with regard to fundraising. I do think it's important that an effort be made. Historically, we have covered for things of this nature the cost of registering for the tournament. We have covered transportation and lodging historically from district money. That turns out to be really the heft of this. But some of those costs, as Mr. Russell alluded to, are going to be lessened the faster we can do it, right? If we're going to fly them down, which seems to be the way to keep them out in school as long as possible, plane tickets, the sooner the better. Lodging, likely the same thing. So I'm thinking maybe if the board could agree to fund tournament registration, airfare, and lodging, allow for the vertical raise to try to cover as much of the rest of it as possible, and if they need to come back to us, are people comfortable with that
Yeah, I agree.
philosophy?
Yeah.
That's kind of a complicated motion, so I'm trying to think how we can simplify that.
My only motion was just to approve vertical raise. I didn't complicate it
Okay.
with anything, so.
So we should vote on the vertical raise first and then make a motion after that regarding.
Let's do that. We'll have the motion to approve vertical raise first. All those in favor, Linda, are you set with that? We're going to vote on whether to approve vertical raise. All those in favor? Okay. Now, maybe a second motion, Katie.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the tournament registration, the airfare, and the lodging for Mr. Russell's debate team.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. A concise motion and a second. I like that. Thank you. Any further discussion on that? Yeah.
Since it was mentioned adding a couple extra days, I think that would be something that we would need to know. If they're going to extend a couple extra days, or is it just that they have notified that they don't?
If I can weigh in on that, I know in the past at this tournament, people have generally found that, well, it's not ideal, like a week in DC would be great, send us to Miami too. No. Generally, there does tend to be a little bit of time for sightseeing, even though we're just going for the tournament. realistically, although I will hope for the best, there's a solid chance our kids don't wind up national champions at this tournament, which means they probably will get eliminated at some point. And so we'll be there for the duration of the tournament. Anyway, that would be like a time that we could go down the mall, see the Smithsonian's, things like that. So I would personally advocate for missing as little school as possible, and sticking with the dates I propose.
Go ahead, Jared.
If they could get a chance to go to the Congress, sit on the Supreme Court debate, that would be fantastic. So,
That would be cool. Let's see what we can do.
I actually, Susan Collins and Angus King are really great about seeing Maine residents, so if you guys do want to do that, you can contact their office and they'll set aside time for you.
Great idea.
And I know Angus King does, like every day he has time for Mainers to come and have like coffee and donuts or something, so just throwing that out there for you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Go ahead, Jim.
On top of what Katie said, 2 years ago, my husband and I, he wrote to Senator Collins, and one of her staff members actually took us for a whole tour of Congress, and we actually got to go into, and you have to have a senator or House representative, a person walking into the old buildings, so it really was a phenomenal trip.
Very cool. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments? All those in favor? Excellent. And congratulations to you and your team. Congratulations to you because it's clear you have some exceptional students, but getting this up off the ground and teaching them the ropes this quickly is a testament to your ability as well. So I thank you and I congratulate you, and good luck to all of you.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. We're all very grateful. I also just want to let you guys know my personal favorite speech and debate event is called Congressional Debate. And in Congressional Debate, the students have placards, they make motions, they do seconds, they vote. And whenever I come to a board meeting, I feel really gratified by the validity of those real world skills. Thank you all very much.
Next item, 2026-27 school year calendar.
Hard to believe, but we are at that point where we vote on the calendar. This calendar does not stray too far from what we're currently doing for this 25-26 school year. The only change is a professional development day in January. We didn't have one this year. After talking with the leadership team, we decided that January would be a good time to sort of break things up and check in with our educators. So I would put forward this calendar. It does have us starting with staff on the 25th. We'll go 3 days that week. We'll start with our K through 6th and 9th graders on August 31st. Everybody on the 1st for that week. And then I know it's usually wishful thinking that we stay with the end of the school year with our semester month and such, but the end date will be this one. So I put forward for your consideration the 26-27 school calendar.
I make a motion we accept the 2026-2027 school calendar.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, Ed Programming Committee report. Take it away, Kate. Whenever you're ready.
Set my notes down so we can just find them. So I think this may address some of the concerns that have been brought to the board. So the first, we met on January 13th at, I believe it was 5:30 at the DSF building. And we went over the main model of school support. So basically there's these different tiers of support that schools get when they're identified as at risk. We actually, so I believe it was last year that ELS was not identified as an at-risk school. And then this year, of course, I was a little bit late to this meeting, so I don't have the exact notes, but we did have some schools come off of being identified as needing support, and then we had schools step down in tiers. So it means that we're progressing in our academic achievement. So I just wanted to address that for you, so hopefully that makes you feel a little better. And we discussed the middle school health update. We're utilizing the Health Smart books that we discussed previously. And the committee actually met last week to discuss what books we will be utilizing for next year. And then we also had a discussion on outdoor learning. So we have a lot of donors in the communities that support outdoor learning at each of our schools. The main outdoor school is supported by donors and grants for our K-5 schools in the district. And then there are also other ways that the schools are accessing outdoor enrichment. For example, the Mountain View kindergarten class does outdoor exploration, and Ella Lewis does outdoor learning. They have a gazebo and an outdoor learning area that all of the teachers can utilize, and they also have garden boxes. This type of enrichment is really valuable in education and it gets students engaged. So that is why I wanted to discuss it. And then we have an update on our ELA and math curriculums for the next school year. ELA, we're switching from wit and wisdom to arts and letters, which was piloted by our 3rd grade in the district, and it was overwhelmingly supported by the staff. It's more developmentally appropriate. I believe that that's something that our ed programming team is really trying to focus on, is making sure that our curriculums are more developmentally appropriate and engaging for our students. We have title money that's going to cover the digital tools and the professional development needed for this switch. And then for math, we're moving to Eureka Squared from Eureka, so it's the same company, but they've made improvements based on the criticisms that Eureka was getting. And again, this is more developmentally appropriate. Title money is covering digital tools and professional development. And then the final thing that we discussed was the Maine State Diploma. The state of Maine has a diploma that students can get, and we were having a discussion about what the differences between the Maine State Diploma and the Summer Diploma are. And we were also wanted to decide about if students could march if they get the Maine State Diploma, and it was brought up that less than 25% of schools don't allow students to march that receive this diploma versus the school's diploma. And there was a slight difference in credit requirements. There are less needed for the Maine State Diploma. It was a very productive conversation, and I believe that we decided that we're going to have further discussions on this and what it means for summer. And we wrapped up at 6:30 that evening, and our next meeting would be next week.
Thank you, Katie. Next item, policy committee report, Mary.
We do have quite a few that are up for revisions. I didn't know if the will of the committee was to discuss the will of the board was to discuss them as a whole and then vote in one big lump for the revisions, or how I prefer to vote on it differently. Oh, can you hear me now? I'm sorry. I said we had quite a few under revisions, so I didn't know if the board was okay with just putting them together as one group versus voting on them individually. So we met on January 24th at 5:30 at the DSF. We did make a few adjustments to the agenda. We removed JEA-R because it was previously approved. And we approved the minutes from the last meeting. But the first policy up for revision is IGA, Curriculum Development and Adoption. This policy was brought forward due to the age of the last revision. We made grammatical corrections. Language was added from the MSMA sample policy recommendations. And items not included in the sample policy were removed and cross-references were added. This was approved by the committee in a 3-0 in favor vote. The second policy is ILD, student surveys, analysis, testing, and evaluations. The version of this policy was compared to the MSMA policy, and due to the number of updates in the MSMA sample policy, the committee agreed to adopt the updated sample policy. So punctuations in items A through H were revised for periods with periods for consistency with policy formatting, and that was voted in favor 2-1 to bring before the board. Then we have JFC, dropout prevention treatments and student withdrawal from school. We took out bold font formatting, and under withdrawing students from school, parents / legal guardian, and 17 and under. So we modified that to match our other formatting within the other policies that we have, and it was voted 2-1 to bring before the board. The JRA, student education records and information. The definition of parent was added, and in section A, directory information, height and weight of a student athlete was removed. It is in the MSMA sample policy that you include height and weight in the directory, but after discussion with the committee, we didn't feel that was necessary, nor do we have any athletic programs that would really warrant publishing someone's weight. For JRA-E, we have annual notice of student education records and information rights. The RSU24 version of this policy compared to the MSMA sample policy, and due to the many updates that would need to be made, we just agreed as a committee to use the updated MSMA sample policy, and we did add the definition of a parent for consistency with our other policies, and it was voted in favor to bring to the board. For JRA-R, student education records and student information administrative procedure, in section 2A, again, height and weight of student athletes was removed and numbers were spelled out, and we abbreviated building administrator with BA, and that was voted 2-1 to bring before the board. For JHCA, early release, late arrival, we did habits of work and learning proficiencies were removed throughout the policy. References to the guidance office were updated to the guidance suite, and bold font formatting was removed. And we did have some questions initially about if it was considered the guidance suite and then what the counselors were called, and we did get clarification that it is called the counseling suite, and the title is the school counselor, so the policy will reflect that. That was voted 3-0 to bring before the board. JICH, substance use / abuse by students, we didn't make any changes other than we removed bold font formatting that had been present, and that was passed 3-0 to bring before the board. JJIC, philosophy of co-curricular activities, we made grammatical changes and cross-references were updated, and that was passed 3-0 to bring before the board. JJIE, substance use / abuse by students participating in co-curricular activities, bold font and underlining formatting was removed. Athletic director was added to the RSU student assistance team, and to the violation section, guidance counselor updated to school counselor. And we did have a discussion on this as to the number of self-referrals that a student could have under the self-referral section. And that was actually decided to bring before the board for a brief discussion, because in the policy it only indicated you could self-referral for counseling and services once. We didn't know if the board would like to remove the statute of the one-time referral. So I didn't know if we wanted to discuss that at this time. And if somebody doesn't understand, basically you can make a self-referral if you're having issues with substances. It would be like a self-reporting situation, not that you were caught and it was a discipline type situation. But we had discussion as a committee and felt that only allowing that one time maybe didn't seem to be in the best interest of the student to have a limitation on that.
Thoughts? Go ahead.
I would just agree with that. It's kind of limiting to tell them they can only self-refer one time, so I would be okay with eliminating that.
I think the same thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should broaden it to more things.
Absolutely. I mean, the idea that you only get one shot at counseling is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't see that there are a lot of students who are gonna sign up for it, but the ones that do want to be able to come back more than once.
I think Jen at the policy meeting made a good point that one time of a self-referral is kind of limiting to a child, because we're talking about children with a substance abuse problem, that they might need more than one opportunity to either get clean or get help or self-refer. So I'm totally fine with either taking that out completely and not having a limit placed on a self-referral for a child with a substance abuse problem.
I think I've got a straw poll that we're okay with taking out the limiting numbers, so the policy will just read the self-referrals on that.
So that is the recommendation that you'll put forth for this revision tonight then?
Yes.
So as long as everyone's clear on that, right? After this discussion, they're gonna, okay.
Perfect, thank you.
So, you ready for a motion? Because I'll make a motion.
I'm done with all the revisions, yes.
Go ahead, Katie.
I make a motion that we accept the revisions presented by the policy committee.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
And then policies for second reading and adoption. We made no changes to these, so again, I would like to do them as a group, if possible. We have ECA, video surveillance on school property, EBBD, temperature standards for schools, and JLCDA-E, parent/medical provider request to administer medical marijuana at school. And again, the committee did not make any more modifications to these policies, so we would be looking for a motion to accept them for adoption.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept for second read and adoption numbers 11, 12, and 13 that were just mentioned.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second for policies for second reading and adoption. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
The committee will meet again on February 24th at 6:30 at the DSF. And the agenda will be posted prior to. Thank you.
All right. Facilities and Transportation Committee report, Marcy.
We met on Tuesday, January 20th at 5:30 at the DSF. We discussed, we had a discussion regarding potential restroom locker room remodels. It was a discussion that we need a lot more information on, so until we bring it to the full board, we want more information. We had a transportation department report. Janet gave out how many buses we have, how many vans we have, and that every year we buy new buses. So this year we're at a good point where we do not need to purchase new buses, which is exciting. And Janet went over the 27 budget items. It was just a rough draft. That'll obviously go to the budget meetings. And then Janet went over a facilities and operation manager update of all of the projects they've been doing around the district. And I don't know when our next meeting is. When our next meeting is, the 24th. Yep.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Marcy. Budget workshop update. Who's that, Mary, that you again?
Yes, it's me again. All right, so the Budget and Finance Committee met on January 28th at the DSF. We called to order at 17:33. The first agenda item was about mileage rate reimbursement increase proposal. So the IRS published a 2.5 cent increase to rates this year, so it's a 0.725 right now, and the state wants it at 57 cents. The current state, we're at 56 cents for the state, we're at 57. We've always been above the state, so we are proposing a 60 cent per mile to stay above the state and to stay in line with the increase. And that would make about $1,800 to $2,000 increase to the budget based on 2025 numbers. We've had 58,000 miles roughly reimbursed in 2025. So we are looking to increase the mileage rate, and we will be looking for a motion. that the school board approve an adjustment to the staff mileage reimbursement rate, increasing it from 57 cents per mile to 60 cents per mile.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjust the mileage rate in our district from 57 cents per mile to 60 cents per mile.
Seconded.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm just going to point out the same thing I did at the meeting, that although gas prices have decreased, the cost of vehicle maintenance and the purchasing price of vehicles has increased. So I think that that substantiates the need for a mileage increase.
This doesn't directly affect that, but I just wanted to mention, I can't quite remember what the figure was, but I believe our buses and travel 280,000 miles in 1 year. That's kind of wear and tear we're talking about on these vehicles. It's not insignificant.
Any further questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of increasing the district's mileage rate from 57 cents to 60 cents?
Thank you.
You got anything else?
I do. Second agenda item was the ELS library contract increase. They are requesting a $1,000 increase in 2017. It was $4,000, and the contract had not increased since 2018 when it was $5,000. Now they want to go up to $6,000. And it should be noted that I believe Katie shared in the meeting that their overall operating cost is about $100,000, $104,000, excuse me. So they are just requesting an increase to cover the expenses of, that we would be adding to them. So we would actually be looking for a motion that the school board approve an increase in the annual library service contract for Ella Lewis School with the Henry D. Moore Library from $5,000 to $6,000 beginning with the fiscal 2027 school year.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the increase to the Henry D. Moore Library for access for Ella Lewis School from $5,000 to $6,000 for the next school year.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I would just like to add that by approving this, it's giving Ella Lewis access to a library, as they're the only K through 5 school in our district that doesn't have a library on the premises of the school. So it's valuable.
I've actually been in that library when the kids come in from Ella Lewis, and it is absolutely glorious. It goes from quiet as you can possibly imagine a library with 2 librarians in it and nobody's saying a word, to a bunch of kids coming in so excited. It's a wonderful place for the kids to go, partly because it's not in the school. They're out, they have to walk across the road, and they just have an absolute blast. It's a great place.
I would also just like to add for the board's knowledge that the library opens early so that all of the classes have access as well. So they are expanding their hours for us to have time there.
I just had a quick procedural question. I don't see this on the agenda. Is that?
It's the budget. It's oh yeah, it wasn't listed.
Just out of curiosity, I'm fine, happy that it's there. I just wasn't sure if that was. Okay.
That's actually a good point, because we do have the other item on there, so the library should have been on there as well. Point taken, that's a good point.
I'm just going to echo what Katie said. If we're paying $6,000 for library services, I'm going to guess that's a steal compared to what we're probably paying for library services in our other buildings. So, personally, I'm more than happy to do it. All those in favor? Anything else?
I do. The next agenda item was fiscal year 2027 budget overview. At the time of the meeting, we were waiting on the ED 279, but we're on track as far as budget requests they were in. And Belinda is working with the admins. We're going to meet on February 11th, where we are going to start going through all of that. And it's kind of an aggressive meeting agenda for the next couple of budget workshops, but we're hoping to get them through on the 11th, and then on the 25th we're going to get the presentations, and hopefully March 11th will be the final workshop. And then our last agenda item is a nutrition budget update. Linda met with Janet and Melinda, and they're looking weekly to see where they can reduce spending, and Melinda has done a really great job. We were initially at around 180,000, and she's gotten it down to 125,000. So they are still actively working on that. And the Kindle Foundation actually gave, I believe it was $2,025 to help with the budget. They gave $900 up front and the remaining in February. So we're making progress and hoping to do more at the end of the school year. And it was noted that there had been an increase in meals served this year. In December, just adult meals alone was an extra $800. And then we'll have discussions as food pyramid will be changing, so that'll be up for discussion in the future as well. The next workshop will be February 11th.
Thank you, Mary. All right, board review of meeting. I don't know where we'll start. Let's start with Carla tonight. She looks cheerful.
Thank you for everyone that is here today. I appreciate your attendance and your comments. And I just wanted to say congratulations to the Sumner seniors in their fundraising for their trip. That's pretty awesome. And also congratulations to the to Mr. Russell and his speech and debate team for being recognized for their achievements, and also the nomination of Whitney Crabtree for Hancock County Teacher of the Year, I believe. So congratulations on that nomination to her. And then I'd also like to echo what Mr. Eastman mentioned about the bus drivers and the custodians. Over this past few weeks, the roads have been pretty intense, and so has the salt and sand. So it's a lot of extra work for them. I know I'm driving on these roads that are not always treated very well. So great job to the bus drivers and to the custodians as well. So I appreciate you recognizing them. And then I think that's about it. Just thank you so much for everyone. Oh, and Ella Lewis for your literacy award. Congratulations. I think that's awesome. And looking forward to seeing what the Ed Programming Committee does moving forward to help our students really get up and above and beyond. And it'd be awesome for our district to become an education destination, and we could pull from some other schools and other districts. So congratulations.
I'm pretty much going to be echoing a lot of the same things, but I want to say congratulations to all of the basketball teams, and I wanted to recognize Whitney on a well-deserved nomination for Teacher of the Year. As always, she's such a wonderful leader in our school community, and I am very thankful that we have her. And I also wanted to congratulate you on the letter. I know I was nosy, so I found out a little while ago, but super exciting. And I wanted to thank all of the seniors, Pearl, Sierra, and Fiona, for their presentation. I really love when students come and present to us, so that was awesome, and congrats to Speech and Debate. And I hope they have a great time in DC.
Pretty much echoing the same thing. I believe that letter also was a kudos to you, Mr. Eastman, and Amy as well.
To
Haley and Shelley. So I just want to make sure that I don't leave y'all out either, because you do great work. And just echo what everybody else said. And again, with the public attendance, I do appreciate it. It's nice to not be in an empty auditorium and to hear your feedback and your thoughts and what is on your mind. So I appreciate you attending, and I look forward to seeing you at future board meetings.
I want to say congratulations to the Sumner High School, Sumner High School seniors, the Speech and Debate Club. That's really cool. I also want to say congratulations to Haley, and I forgot if there's others, but congratulations to everyone.
I think you guys all covered it.
There's a hymn that I know, and the line goes, in the bleak midwinter, frosty winds made moan, earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow in the bleak midwinter, long, long ago. I want to just say that having you all come to this school board meeting warms my heart. Really, it's wonderful to see you all here. When you leave here, go tell them what a wonderful time it has and bring your friends.
I'm good.
You don't have a poem for us or anything, Jen? I'm not going to share a poem tonight. I want to say, I want to echo a little bit what's been said, and I said something earlier about the speech and debate team. We hear a lot of negativity from, I think, people who don't get to hear the positive things that go on in school. Test scores, while they are an important measure of student achievement and student success, and they're certainly the most public measure, I think pretty much everybody in every part of our community would agree, they're not the only measure of student success. And there are lots of other ways that our students demonstrate their excellence. And again, I'm not going to minimize the test, but we have seen in recent months very strong evidence that we are trending in an upward direction with regard to performance in getting our students to grade level proficiency in ELA and math, the areas that are most tested. But we have students who had never competed in debate and speech in their entire lives, on a whim decided to join a speech and debate team and are now going to a national competition. We have students in this school who go to HCTC and end up going to national competitions and the Skills USA competition every year and routinely come back with silver and gold medals from that. And those are the two that stick out most prominently. You don't hear about that too much. It's not the kind of thing that makes the paper very often. But we have students from this little school of 220 kids, or wherever we are now, who are making a mark on a national level. And so if you want to find successes, they're here to be found. I'll end it at that. Future meetings, I'm not reading them. I'm never going to. They're right there listed on the paper. You can read them. And so those of you in the audience, they are on the agenda. They are also on the RSU24 website. All of the meetings for the next month for the committees are times and places are listed. Next item on our agenda is an executive session.
Make a motion, we enter into executive session pursuant to NYSA Title 1, Section 4056E for the purpose of discussing a legal issue.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Okay, you guys don't have to leave. We're going to go next door. I mean, if you want to leave, you can. If you don't want to wait around. But
Jeff, not everybody was in favor.
you just need a 2/3 majority.
Okay, I just.
Is there a reason why we have to go into executive session to discuss this matter?
Because it's a legal issue.
Okay.
Okay, let the minutes show that we're out of executive session at 8:06 with no action required. And now I would accept another motion for executive session.
I make a motion we enter into executive session pursuant to NRSA Title I, Section 4056A for the purpose of discussing administrator contracts.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. All right, let the minutes reflect we're on an executive session at 8:13. And we do have a motion coming out of the executive session.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendations for administrator salaries and contract extensions.
Seconded.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. I would accept the motion to
I make a
adjourn.
motion we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?